First, I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who are teaching this truth and sincerity. And a shout out to the Akim that's out there also push this word forth, Rakatha. And so, we're here to expose Esau as we know him to be a bastard. Now, what is a bastard? Why would Esau be the bastard son of Isaac? Well, the same as why Cain is the bastard son of Adam. Because what had happened is they had to become a bastard, to no longer be the son. A lot of times can mean imposter in the form of Esau, pretending to be that he's the Jews or Jewish, is a bastard. But it goes even deeper than that, because when you were given pretty much, you once had something, but now you've abandoned it. You've abandoned everything that you had, and you go off. You start teaching other things. You start learning other things, the ways of the heathen, the ways of others. That also makes you a bastard. So Esau is a bastard in every way, because he has adapted all these philosophies to his own. He's adapted Egyptian philosophies and Greek philosophies and has molded it into the truth that he once knew. But he hated the truth from the very beginning. He hated the knowledge. He defied the knowledge. So it was his attitude that led to everything that has stretched Christianity today. So this word of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai differs with everything that had been taught. Because unfortunately, though, we grew up in the Edomite society, where they teach nothing but falsehoods. But Esau, he hated this knowledge from the very beginning. Thus, he hated his birthright. That he traded it just for lentils. Because he never thought it was of any value. And that's what makes Esau a bastard. Because he despised who he was. He wasn't proud of who he was. He wanted to be somebody else. Kind of like makeup and, hair dye and everything else. I mean, I see our people doing this all the time, and of course I'm talking about the real Judites, the ones, that aren't confused at faces but have their origins, but they despise who they are, that they would rather dye their hair blonde or other things, or they will rather wear a wig when their hair is beautiful, because they just don't love who they are, because they've been so captivated by the Edomite society that they want to be just like the Edomites. This too makes them bastards. Yes, 2/3 of our people are also bastards, because they despise who they are. To have woolly hair, and I'm especially talking about the southern tribes, is very much a blessing, because you are likened unto Yahweh and Yahushai, the Son of Man, who had hair white like wool. So you have this woolly hair, but you're ashamed of it, and you want to wear wigs, and you want to cover it. You want to dye your hair blonde and be like the so-called Edomite. Blonde is a curse, because that's the paleness of a person's skin, but also the paleness of the hair. So, yeah, Edomite society teaches you that blondes are more fun, that, to be blonde is a good thing. But it is, in fact, quite the opposite, because Esau has turned everything upside down, And so that's why we, the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, on down to the prophets, which are the ones coming out here and teaching and doing videos, are coming down so hard on you, is because you want to stay in an Edomite society that's not your own. You have no place here, but you would rather not come to your nationality. You'd rather stay in these heathen customs that you love so much, eating swine and, enjoying all these other feast days, especially Christmas and Easter and Halloween and Thanksgiving, and that's a big one. Why Why would you even want to celebrate that when that was the murder of our people? Why would you bask in that? Eat abominable foods. But you see, you'd rather be a bastard. You'd rather pretty much abandon. And that is when you receive this knowledge. Because not all of you are going to receive this knowledge. We know that. We're not stupid, But you'd rather pretty much just live as you've been living, pretty much, thinking that this place, America, will never be destroyed by nuclear fire. Oh, that'll never happen here, Or, you just pretty much, you don't care. You're just going to live your life to the fullest, live your life. You only live once, adapting all these philosophies, And so, to be a bastard means to also go off and learning other philosophies, teachings, because all religion is philosophy. Most of the philosophy comes from Esau, the so-called white man, because all he's done is pretty much taken everything and adapted it and expanded it into what we know as stretch Christianity, Catholicism, if you will. Because the Pope, the Roman Catholic leader, meets with all the religions, so they organize and they kind of mold it all into one thing, whether you would be a Hinduist, a Buddhist, or whatever, they kind of mold it all together. They meet regularly with the Pope, at least once a year or so, to talk about things concerning the church. So that's Esau's version of the church. But the real church are us coming out on the streets and teaching you not to follow in the ways of the heathen, teaching you to come back to your nationality, that blacks, Latinos, Native Americans are the real Israelites, and then you have confusion of faith among them. And how do you know if you're confusion of faith among them? Well, obviously you don't look like them, for one, but yet you have the spirit to receive this truth, to receive this knowledge, which is the best gift of all, the gift of prophecy. The gift to understand these biblical prophecies, to understand what's going on, is yet the greatest of all these things. Paul the Apostle, who was of the tribe of Benjamin, said that the spirit of prophecy was of the greatest of these things, more so than speaking other tongues and things like that. And speaking in tongues is not this bullshit you see there in the 501c3 churches, That is just nothing more than blasphemy itself. It's a mockery of things, yuddling, and, pretending to be slain in the spirit, which I've done previous videos about. Slain in the spirit, it's this nonsense, this Tyler Perry horse shit that you see, come to Jesus moment, which his name's not even Jesus, it's Yahweh Shai. And so, as you're coming into this, you know that Jesus Christ and Yahweh Shai are really two different people. One exists and one doesn't exist. But to be a bastard, though, means that you've had some sort of wisdom of this knowledge. We had the wisdom of this knowledge, the same as Esau, but 2/3 of us fell off. It got too hot. It got way too hot. The things that Yahweh Shai was teaching 2,000 years ago when he was here, it's just too much to handle. That you had to pretty much, put off everything else. If you weren't willing to do that, you were not even worthy of him. 2/3 of our people just couldn't deal with it, We hear it said all the time, though, that, I don't want to be an Israelite because I don't want to have to give up eating pork, because it's been so accustomed to Esau, the so-called white man, and everything that's associated with pork, When yet, you can buy these things and you can just read the packages and find out that you can get it in the form of turkey meat or, bacon. Could be turkey bacon or could even be chicken bacon. You don't have to settle for pork. Pork is bad for you, health-wise as well. But, you just don't want to have to go the extra step, And those that are not willing to lay down their life to give up the former things and come into this new life and truth were never worthy of Yahweh Shai or Yahweh. So you have to go through Yahweh Shai first in order to get to Yahweh, And that's just it, though. when you don't want this and all that, you are guilty of blaspheming the Holy Spirit. When you go off and you come against us, you say that we're not the real Israelites, that we're the black Hebrew Israelites, or that we're things other. We know Esau does this, but we got our own people that have fucking sold out too. They're just as bad, like ISUPK and IUIC. Teaching that there's that you don't have to know the name, or teaching other things. That's being a bastard. That's no different than Esau. And that's why I've often said it, and many of us have said it, that you can't tell which is worse. But I think what is worse, we already know who Esau is, Edom is, but yet, when our people are doing that, don't you think that makes the Most High even more angry? Well, why do you think we get angry? It's the Most High speaking through us, the prophets, and so it makes us very angry that our own people would rather do that. Would just rather go back to the life that they're living, being a thug, being a pimp, and just all this bullshit. When yet, you can receive a greater truth. So, the 2/3, man, you hate your birthright just about as much as Esau did. And so that's why, bastards, a bastard cannot enter the kingdom thereof. I've heard that verse used against me because I'm a confusion of face. I'm not no goddamn Edomite. I speak against Esau all the time. And there are many more like me that speak against Esau all the time. Besides, this doesn't matter how we look. It's about the spirit to receive and to prophesy, to relearn what we have learned and to pretty much share it. Is the spirit of an Israelite. The Spirit lives within us. That is the Holy Spirit. And when you come against that, you're guilty of blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. Blasphemy against the Most High. So, again, this is basically to the elect, to the Yakim that's out there, teaching this truth, and to everyone else that's keeping this, love who you are, don't hate it, which we already know that if we're part of that elect, but, Esau hated his birthright. 2/3 of our people, one and the same with Esau, and it's just, that's just it. Sometimes it's just too hot to handle, and Most High's not dealing with that, and that's why he calls 2/3 of the people bastards as well. Shalom.